currently, many in the media are criticizing Donald Trump because why not? They always do for looking to buy Greenland, liberate Canada, and reclaim the Panama Canal and potentially fold them into the United States. Despite Greenland and the Panama Canal especially being vital to our national security against Russia and China, and one can argue that historically the U.S. has a claim to both of them, especially the Panama Canal before Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it up during his presidency. So, yeah, I mean, buying Greenland not only gives us access to rare earth minerals and stuff like that, it gives the United States access to 45,000 kilometers of coastline that faces the heart of the Arctic region and the North Atlantic Ocean. So it's a means of strategic advantage if the United States were to ever come into conflict with Russia outright. Based on this map, could you hypothetically or hypothermically imagine a war breaking out and being fought on the North Pole? I mean, imagine an ice war. I mean, Santa would be, locked and loaded. I mean, can you imagine?
That's wild.
I mean, check out this
I
photo.
hate the snow. I'm sorry. More power to y'all that want to fight up there, but I'm
not doing it. I don't like the snow.
And icy submarines, just walking around and Santa with a cigar in his mouth, saying this time it's personal, Vladimir.
Yeah,
It's like, can you imagine? It'd be interesting. But
I'd be like,
but yeah,
hey, I'm with y'all in spirit. I'm not going out there. It's cold.
Rudolph might even be packing for all we know.
Hey,
yeah,
I'm not doing it.
So, but both Greenland and the Panama Canal are primarily about controlling vital shipping lanes throughout the region, which is only smart for a global superpower such as the United States to have control over. Here are the shipping lanes in and around the Canada and Greenland region. And while I don't think this part will actually happen, but if ice recedes, according to you climate change nuts out there, new trade routes will also open up in the Arctic region. So whoever controls Greenland will have enormous influence over these new maritime highways. Mm-hmm. So, and as you can see on the left side of this map I'm about to pull up here, the Panama Canal is particularly important because it is a choke point. It's one of the few access points that enable shipments to pass in between landmasses on the Americas side of the planet. And China in particular has had its eyes on it. And Trump even believes that they're partially in control, if not fully in control of it. As with the Drill Baby Drill initiative, the Panama Canal is purely about Trump's pursuit of making America less dependent on other countries that are not particularly friendly towards us. So a lot of that criticism, because Trump did not rule out using military force to maybe acquire Greenland or Panama. But I really don't think that Donald Trump meant he would use the military. He has openly stated it would be an economic force mostly. And many people living there would likely love to vote to be a part of the United States. So here's Scott Jennings, one of our favorites on CNN, kind of explaining what Trump is simply keeping his options open.
I think Trump's thinking big, and he's thinking about U.S. interests. There are U.S. interests in Greenland. They have rare earth minerals. We already have some kind of space facility there, and it would help fortify us against the Russians. The Panama Canal is, of course, of interest when you consider the Chinese incursions and influence in this hemisphere. What Donald Trump is saying to the world is, we are not a shrinking violet anymore. We are the United States of America. We are the preeminent superpower. And reporters keep asking him to rule things out and take things off the table. And it would be the height of stupidity to do so now or to anything else before he takes office. Why would he tell the rest of the world what he may or may
not do? Yeah, why would he?
Yeah.
Why would you tip your hand? I mean, if you tip your hand like that, the world can counteract you. I mean, it's just like in battle. Why would you tell them, oh, we're going to bomb this person to, at 9 p.m. on Sunday? Well, they're going to evacuate the area.
Yep.
I mean, that's what Joe Biden's basically done in a lot of his situations like this. But on top of that, Donald Trump has announced intentions to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let's take a little listen to what he had to say about it.
Going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
So, I mean, why not? If Barack Obama can rename Mount McKinley in Alaska to, I think it's Denali now, is that what they call it? which Trump has talked about officially changing back to Mount McKinley, by the way. 3 nations border the Gulf of Mexico. The U.S. has the longest coastline, meaning we have the largest claim to it. The coastline stretches 1,500 miles from South Florida to the Rio Grande in Texas. Next up is Mexico with about 1,100 miles, and then Cuba has about 60 miles of official Gulf coastline. So, thoughts about this? Is Mexico or the countries south of Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Belize, Honduras, and Nicaragua, are they next on the list to make all of North America a part of the United States in the long run and under Donald Trump's plan here? Do you think?
No,
No, you don't think so?
I don't think we're going to acquire Canada or Greenland either. So, the last couple of days, I listened to a couple different podcasts, them talking about it. And on the Gladio podcast, which was Colonel Townsend, I told you guys about her in the very beginning of our shows. She went to Indiana. She said that Canada and Mexico are already pretty much owned by us, but Trump is drawing attention to it because he wants them to be sovereign nations on their own. Canada is ruled by the crown. It's like a big old honeypot. Yeah. And then Greenland, same thing. There was a guy talking about how much rare minerals they have, but they don't use it. They don't do anything with it. They don't use their shit. And Trump is all about using what you have.
Right.
Yeah. So he's drawing attention to it. He's trolling them, saying he might use military force to take it over, but he don't want their countries. He wants them to do something with their countries.
That's a fair assessment. I like that. I didn't really think about it that way, but yeah. I mean, and not to mention, we have multiple, I think, U.S. military bases in Greenland. You know, we've already kind of fortified that area in case, the Russians decide to pop off or whatnot. So it's not like we have no influence up there. But yeah, I don't necessarily see, us, acquiring these countries either, especially the ones south of Mexico before you hit the Panama Canal. I can maybe see, the Panama Canal because, like I said, it is a vital access point. But, Mexico and all this stuff, no, probably not. But I mean, weirder things have happened. But it just shows the ideas that Donald Trump has, as Scott Jennings says, of just kind of being open to bigger ideas and greater things for our country. So again, I'll be the first one to say if he uses military force to overthrow somebody, yes, I'll be against that. Absolutely. Yeah. But he's just not taking it off the table because, again, he's just not revealing his hand and everything he wants to do. Like you said, if he's trolling people, he's probably wanting to get into people's heads a little bit, try to use that influence a little bit, just to try to maybe do some things that he would like them to do without actually doing it. So everybody needs to calm down. The art of the deal, as it were. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Thank you for checking out this clip of the Dragon's Den podcast. If you like what you saw here, please consider checking out our live podcast almost every single Friday night here on the channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And until our next video, guys, take care and God bless.